Just state your name, Stan.
I'm Gary Allen.
Stanton,
It's Stanton Weave. That's a good deal to put us up there together. I'd like to take care of
It's a
him.
little scary for us, you guys are together, I'm wondering about that, go ahead.
Well, I've had to take care of him all my life. My mother made me do that, so I guess I'll keep on doing it. I'm just gonna tell you what I've done in 50 years of ranching. To start with, when I was a kid, everything was different than it is now. The Forest Service, they was new, and they come out there, they did a little work, they built fences, they maintained them, at least they helped. Ranchers helped them, did most of the work probably, but at least they did help. Now I don't know what the deal is, but they can't get out of their picket. If they pass over it, all that's for is to tell you how many cows you got on the wrong side of the fence. Used to be no beetles in the trees. They used to log. They took all the logging out of Paiute County. They took all the mining out of Paiute County. Mines used to run there, and the logging industry was, it kept a lot of people employed. Now there's not a job in Paiute County. You got to go someplace else, or else you got to be one of us that's getting picked on every day. I get up every morning and the phone starts ringing, and I ask my wife, who is it, BLM or the Forest Service? And you got it to deal with. And they cut you. I've been run off the mountain just because I don't see eye to eye with a range gun. I've been run off the mountain in July, the 1st of July, with nothing other than he hooked his pickup on a gate and took it for 10 miles down the road because he's throwing a fit. And it's the type of personnel they got in the Forest Service. They could come and talk to you and be decent, but they don't have to because they're God Almighty. They do it the way they want to do it, when they want to do it. I can remember them running us off on Labor Day weekend, and put 300 or 400 head of cattle down on the highway with, what the traffic is going to the Otter Creek Reservoir, and they hit the highway at night, just as it was getting dark. Well, nobody got killed, and I don't think they even killed a cow, but it wasn't right. And it's just constant. And I don't know, you got to change something. We figure we got rights that are rights. They're not. Forest Service was put here just to help out, help manage the forest, and they haven't done it. That's for sure. It hasn't been managed. The BLM does a better job, I'd say, a little bit better job, but it needs some. They need some help, and I don't know who's better to help them than. I think we know how to run our cattle better. As old as I am, I ought to know how to run my cattle better than some kid that they just brought in from Tennessee or Arkansas that's never seen a cow before, but he went through college and got a degree. And then another problem they got, and it's a big problem, and we got to hurt it.
Just a minute, Gary. Let's let Stanton say a few things here. I appreciate what you're saying.
well,
I know you raised him, so let's see what you
I
have
did.
to say.
I take care of him. I have to drive him around, chauffeur him around. This is really important to talk here, and I shouldn't start off with a joke, but I'm going to tell this little joke because it fits. This man went down into South America, and while he's down there, he finds a guy that's got this big bird, and the big bird can talk and sing. It costs him a fortune. You guys probably heard the joke, but he buys the big bird and he ships it home to his mother, a woman that reminds me a lot of my grandma. In a few days, he calls his mother and he says, "Did you and Dad get that big bird? Did you like him?" His mother said, "Oh, we just enjoyed him. He was delicious." He said, "Ma," he said, "you shouldn't have ate that big bird." He said, "He could sing, he could talk." She said, "Well, he should have spoke up because he didn't say a word." That fits us ranchers. we've been 40 years and we haven't spoke up. We haven't said a word, and we're just about where the big bird is. It's time that we stood up and we started to say, we're like a herd of sheep is what we've been like. If we just stay in the middle and let them keep picking on that guy out there and this guy over here, that's the way we survive within BLM and the Forest Service. If you just lay low and let them keep picking on the outside guy, we try to survive that way. When the writing's on the wall, we've lost 70% of our grazing rights, or AUMs. They've been canceled or suspended over the past 40 years. It don't take a rocket scientist to figure out where we're headed. And the big thing is we have the rights out on that land. A lady named, she's Mitt Romney's cousin, Pamela Openshaw. I was to a meeting with her and she said, you ranchers are the only people that can defend this country because you own the rights on that land. And what I'm reading and what I always thought, I didn't think we was welfare ranchers. I don't like to be called a welfare rancher. And if I am a welfare rancher, get me out of here, get me going. My grandpa wasn't a welfare rancher, or his grandpa. And they ranched. The BLM only come along in 1949. If those rights were good before 1949, they should still be good today. And the great thing about that is if the rancher stays on the land, that land can't be subdivided. It can't be turned into wilderness. And we have access rights. That means the public has access rights. That land, as long as it stays like it's been for forever, if we can protect the right, then it's a good thing for the hunters, the public, for everybody benefits by it. The big thing is this Constitution right here. It says that our rights are to be protected. It says we're supposed to have our rights protected without our life or liberty and our property are supposed to be protected without losing our life or liberty and our property. And we're getting about to the point that some of this stuff's starting to look pretty glim. But the only guy that can protect that is the sheriff, and the sheriff is the law of the county. He's the man that's elected. They tell me there's no law above that sheriff in the county. And that sheriff knows what goes on in the county. So it's very important we back the sheriff. He can protect us and he can deputize every man in the county if he has to. One other thing, these federal people don't have any right to be here if you follow this. This tells you all through this that this land, if Utah is not a territory, then Utah owns this land. And it states it right here, and the way I understand it, this is the law, this Constitution. I don't think there's any law above it. It even goes on to say the only ground that the federal government can own is 10 square miles. And you guys, the legislature, has to give that to them. There again, I think the sheriff, if you want your land, just tell the sheriff, invite the trespasser to leave. Either they're trespassing or we're trespassing. If we're trespassing, tell us, because I'm ready to move on to some other occupation. If I'm not, if I'm living on the rights my grandfather lived on, my great-grandfather, then that's the right I stand on. I think we have that right. And if a right, it don't matter if it's a grazing right or a water right, or what right it is, a right is a right. It can't be anything else. If it says you have a water right on that land, you have a water right. If you have a trail right, access right. And a right is to be defended. And I guess that's about all I have to say. I probably took up more of my time than I should have.